So I just want to thank WEAC for having me. In addition to being an advocate, I am a mom, and I am a mom with a fifth grader distance learning right now. So I can certainly empathize with the situation. Next slide, please. So I work with the Wisconsin Public Education Network. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, next slide is fine. We're a nonprofit, nonpartisan advocacy coalition that collect public education supporters to information, actions, to make a stronger collective voice for excellent public schools that all children deserve across the state of Wisconsin. And so I never miss the chance to present to people that we are all over the state, and we're here to connect with you and to help support you in your endeavors with your own children. And then also as you think about your school, your district, and the state, and what kinds of academic opportunities our kids have. Next slide, please. As you can see, we have partner organizations all over the state of Wisconsin. If you reach out to us, we'd gladly connect you with some other people and advocates, in addition to WEAC is one of our great partners, but we have tons of individual organizations, PTAs, PTOs, and other groups of parent advocates all over the state. And we do everything from advocate in front of the legislature all the way to hosting events, local events, to sort of raise awareness about supporting strong public schools in Wisconsin. So we just finished our Vote Public campaign, and now we're getting ready to advocate for a better budget for kids and families. Next slide, please. So things that have come up with the COVID-19 pandemic. So we'll start with sort of the macro. Are the schools okay? Lots of things we want families to be thinking about while we're navigating our own households, but the state and federal funding is in a precarious situation. Our school counts, how the budgets are determined for our school districts, were very inaccurate and a little wacky this fall with people holding their kids in and out. The state has some assessment mandates that's forcing districts, especially ones that are virtual, to really think long and hard about how to assess student learning right now in a way that won't lead to punitive measures being taken against school districts. And then we haven't had a lot of guidance from the state level for our school districts. So districts have made individual decisions. And as we know, some of them have been very controversial and will continue to be. And everything in the pandemic is expensive. Next slide, please. Are the adults okay? Our teachers have just done this gigantic lift of trying to take what they do every day with our kids and adjust. Our administrators have never had to administer to thousands of kids in their virtual screens. Of course, I mentioned it before, the school boards have tons of pressures, and our parents and caregivers are overloaded and challenged right now because we haven't had to participate this way in our children's education before. And that leads me to the next slide. Are the kids okay? Our previous speaker just gave a beautiful speech on growth mindset, but our kids' social, emotional, and mental health are being challenged right now. Again, with the academics, people talking about kids being behind, all of that adds pressure to our children. And then also the disproportionate impacts in our rural areas with ineffective broadband and access. We're really widening our gaps between children in school districts that have and the children in the school districts that have not. So what can we do about it together within our own households to address some of these things? Next slide, please. For parents, I'm saying this every time I get a chance. Everyone else has talked about it, but give yourself and others grace and patience right now, unequivocally. I tell parents all the time, if something isn't working out for you and your family, you have to communicate it to the family or to the teachers and then figure out how to make it work in your household. We don't have to, I'm having a hard time coming up with the appropriate analogy, but like overstretching yourself to try to fit some model right now is not a great idea for your family or your household. Figuring out how to make it work for your family and then asking for dispensations from the schools, I think, is a much better tactic. Ask for help if you're struggling or confused. One of the silver lining here is that the kids and the parents are learning how to adapt, and teachers are learning how to adapt, and we should do that together. So don't focus on teaching your children. and don't fret about getting it all done. We need to honor the journey and the struggles of this a time right now. And very specifically, I would really encourage you to not think about your role as a teacher in your home, but think of it as a person who can promote um, understanding of material. So you don't have to be able to teach these crazy algebraic equations, but maybe have a conversation about how it's useful and helping your children connect their school lessons to the home life and the world around them. We really have an opportunity here to help the kids, have a productive struggle together where they learn how to access information. They're learning how to look for things and to find things out for themselves and have that discovery of learning and curiosity when they're not able to figure things out than to just have things delivered to them all the time. So um, I would just like to encourage parents to just take a very deep breath and know that none of us are getting any of this right. We're making tons of missteps, but we're also modeling all the time for our children on how to get through hard times together. And we have opportunities here to have different types of relationships with our educators and our school district. And the final thing I want to leave you with is talking to your children, not even about the schoolwork right now, but asking them about the highlights of their day. The other speakers spoke to this very eloquently, but like they're missing a lot and they might be having really big emotions and you might be having really big emotions. And instead of having those emotions clash, just take a deep breath together and then just talk about what we're struggling with. Final slide, Christina. And then connect with us. We have other groups or other organizers around the state in different areas, and we would gladly welcome to come and speak to any parent groups you have or just have one-on-ones with you as necessary, but also free to connect with us at wisconsonnetwork.org to a lot of resources for advocating for our kids and the schools children deserve. Also, just take a deep breath. We are in different boats, but we definitely all are going through things right now. So thank you very much. And thank you to WEAC for having me. And I'll take any questions or welcome anybody to shoot me an email.